no, we have to do this and do this right. And what you see is the result of this. And in a year, a little over a year's time, we're going to have a for sale sign out here, and I expect a lot of people to be interested. Randy and I are already bidding against on whether or not we could buy this house. But this is a spectacular project, and we wouldn't have done it if it hadn't been for him. So let me introduce Commissioner Randy.
Thank you. Thank you all for coming. I want to give you a little history on how this even became possible. I was assigned the Water Bureau by then Mayor Tom Potter in July of 2005. And I took it rather reluctantly because if you'll recall, in the summer of 2005, the Water Bureau had been through a series of misfortunes that had, through no fault of its own, caused horrible morale within the ranks of the Water Bureau. And I recognized that when I got the assignment. And I had an idea of what needed to be done to bring it back to what I thought was its proper place in Portland, which is amongst one of the leading groups of men and women who deliver the best drinking water in the world to all of Portland. But I also realized it was going to be really hard to do. So one of the first things I asked was for an inventory of all the Water Bureau properties and received blank stares from the management staff who had no idea not only how much property they owned or where it was at. So I hired Tom Clark from the private sector to become the first ever in the Water Bureau's history property manager. And I said, Tom, can you please go out and find all the property that exists owned by the Portland Water Bureau in and outside of Portland and classify it into 3 categories. Those properties that the Water Bureau has to have to complete its mission of delivering the best water in the world to Portlanders. 2, the property that you own that may sometime in the future be required to deliver water to Portlanders. And 3, property that is just surplus, sitting, doing nothing but occupying a neighborhood that we can dispose of. So we developed a catalog of those 3 categories. This fell into the latter category. So when we had the opportunity then to finally decide, yes, we're going to sell the property, I thought what would be the best use of a piece of property in a neighborhood would be to build not a house to sell. That has been widely misunderstood by many folks, that we were building this to sell. That's not why we built it. We built it to demonstrate to builders that if you build a house like this in a working class neighborhood, even if it isn't built within the price range of existing houses, people who want to live in Portland will pay more for a house and pay more every month for a house if there are offsets to that mortgage in terms of reduced utility bills, in terms of an extra unit in back that you can rent out for $850 a month. And so when you sit down and actually figure the final bill for living in this house, I would argue that it would be very competitive with other houses sold in this neighborhood, with the advantages built into it and reduced utility costs. So we had this lot to pick from, and we had one in Southwest Portland to pick from. Most people, I think, probably would have argued to build this house in Southwest Portland, because then it would be easier when you did decide to